Hello everyone and welcome to the English Teacher's Guide to the brand new GCSE AQA Literature Paper 2. We're going to focus today on how to plan Section B, which is a comparison for anthology. Just a quick reminder, this paper is worth 60% of your entire GCSE Literature course. It's a 2 hour and 15 minute paper, so it's a slightly longer one because there are 3 sections. Section A we've already explored, is the modern novel or play that you may have already focused on. Section B is what we're going to focus on today, which is our anthology poems, and then Section C is a comparison of 2 unseen poems. Now let's see if you've been revising. So what does the mark scheme say you need to do in order to achieve 30 out of 30, which is what this question is worth, and then what method do you need to use to demonstrate the mark scheme in your response. Press play when you are ready, but obviously pause this and then discuss, note down your answers. So you can see, unlike traditional papers we would have been used to a couple of years ago, this question doesn't really explore our links in the same way. But you can see that we still get the marks for our ideas and our analysis of the poems, which is important. And then AO3, we have to make sure we include some context and links between the context and the text. So there is some comparison in that sense as well. Now, recommend you spend about 10 to 15 minutes to plan this, about 40 minutes, 45 minutes to write. So obviously the planning is a little bit different here. So read the named poem and then write down the ways in which that poem deals with the theme of the question. Write down as many as you like. Then, on the other side of a chart that you've created, you should now select the poem you will compare it with. Now, I recommend, obviously, it's not just about selecting a poem which you know works really well but you don't really know much about. It's about picking a poem that you know the analysis for, which you can do the work with. What you then do is next to each point you say, right, does the second poem do it in this way? If it does, then obviously these are your comparison points. If not, then you say, well, why not? Select your best 3 or 5 ideas. Again, these are the ones you can best analyse. And then you go back to the poem and you find your notes for analysis. Again, it's a closed book exam, so you're going to have to remember your analysis for both poems. Proofread that plan and make sure you're happy with it, and then we're ready to move on. Now the answering, you can see there's much more of a complex method being installed here, and I'm going to actually focus on the answering methods in my next video, which actually demonstrates the perfect mark answer as well. But there it is very briefly. Again, feel free to pause this and have a look. And then obviously each paragraph, PE, PEA, that's what you need to include 3, 4, 5 times depending on what you can do in the time. But then let's move on and look at a question, shall we? That's the aspects of analysis, sorry, I should have mentioned, that you could look at when you're analysing a poem. So to get 12 marks for AO2, these are the things you could be looking at. Obviously, it's not just enough to say, this is a metaphor, this is this. That's how you get yourself a grade 4 or grade 5 at best. What you need to be doing is saying, right, this is the effect. This is why the poet has used these things. Here's a question. Compare the ways the poet present the ideas of power in Ozymandias and one other poem from the Conflict and Power anthology. You might obviously choose whatever you like. The method is exactly the same. So this is the chart I was talking about. The bits in bold, you can see the 3 points I've selected. So I wrote Ozymandias, I wrote down my 3, 4, 5 different points. Then I thought, you know what, I'm going to use My Last Duchess because it works quite well with this. Now next to each point, okay, so does My Last Duchess demonstrate that power is also temporary? Well, it does, but it's different because the speaker, the male, maintains power whilst his wives lose theirs. Then you consider them the same for 2 and 3. So cruelty is used as a means of maintaining power. Okay, it's similar, but again, it's slightly different because this time round, the speaker uses violence, whereas Ozymandias threatens it. Then finally, power creates egotism. It's the same. Both have a sense of superiority over others. Once I've got the points I've selected, I then go back to my poems, do my notes for analysis, make sure I cover form, structure, and language, make sure I've got my elements of context as well, and I'm ready to go. So thank you. Feel free to watch the next video to see what the perfect mark answer should look like, and obviously feel free to like and share as well. Thank you very much.